Good afternoon, everybody. It is the 26th of April, time for a tour around the garden as we move into winter, although it's been a very, very warm autumn or fall if you're in the US. It's been unusually hot or warm. Like there's been virtually no cold days. You can see that the ground and everything is wet today. This is the first slightly wet day we have had. I've had about 7 mils or something like that in the last, actually probably more than that, probably like 10 to 15 mils in the last 24 hours, which is the first significant rain across the last few months. So we're going to have a look around the garden. Keep in mind that we are moving into winter, so it's going to be pretty bare overall. Yeah, let's have a look around. Avocados haven't really grown too much, but they've put on a pretty sizable amount of growth through the summer, so they've done quite well. Still a little bit of, I think, iron deficiency on this one. I'm not exactly sure why this one in particular, but I've given them a bit of a supplement to help with that. So these are going to be not enjoying the colder weather that we're about to move into, and my greenhouse still hasn't arrived, so as of this date. So what we're going to do is just roll them into the garage on those colder nights until the greenhouse is set up. But yeah, after a couple of winters, they'll be quite fine to sit out in the cold as it gets to anywhere between 0 to 10 degrees overnight, so generally in that lower band, which avocados are not fond of when they're young like this. Like these are only about 2 years old, but once they're a bit older, they'll be much more comfortable. So yeah, waiting on the greenhouse, but otherwise these are doing quite well. One fun thing about this time of year is that the saffron are out, which you can see here. I've actually got a couple which have already bloomed. I've picked out the little the stamen, which are the part that everyone actually knows when they think about saffron. There's a couple of these crocus which are very slow. In fact, that there is a sprout finally, and this one too has been quite slow, but overall getting a little bit of production out of these, which is nice. The curry tree is also going to have to go on one of these little rollers here and go in the greenhouse once it arrives and gets set up. In the veggie pod, I've just thrown in some random lettuce that I had. I'll generally keep the top on this, but just had it off because it has been raining, so it's been quite helpful. And also in this corner, the raspberries are now starting to end their time. Normally they would have been completely gone by now as we head into this colder period, but as I said, given that it's been so warm, they've actually stayed alive a lot longer than you would normally expect. An update for this bed, which I don't think I've mentioned in a previous video, is that this sort of portion here, we're actually going to use this for asparagus. So we're going to plant probably just one crown here in this bed. I'll revitalize it, put some better soil in, dig through it a bit to open it up, and then just let it go, let the asparagus go for a while, and use it like that. I don't actually know if it's enough room for asparagus, especially given this, I can't remember what this tree is, but this tree is here. But I thought it might be a good place for it, so we'll see what happens. And the ginger, I'm not exactly sure what's happening with this ginger, but I'm just going to let this go, and we'll see what happens with this. But yeah, so that's what this corner is going to have. This was some pumpkins earlier before, but I think in the last video I was just about to pull them out. Obviously that has been done. A lot of the winter stuff from the last video, the summer stuff from the last video is now gone, so you'll see a lot of changes as we move through the garden. Thought we'd start over here, one of the most visually changed areas from the previous video. I believe this was all a complete mess of tomatoes, zucchini, and what else did I have here? Oh, the pumpkin. And so as you can see, that's all gone. Pulled it all out. I've now got silver beet in there. I think there's the odd spinach. I actually have no idea. I'm need to find a name for this kind of planting where I put stuff in and then just completely forget what I've put in for the most part. We've also chopped this back a bit just to give a little bit more room for the other things to enjoy the remaining sunlight. I've got peas in here, so there should be some climbing peas which will come up very soon in that area. There's a few stray garlic which were left over alongside the silver beet and the spinach that's in here. So yeah, this should just be a little side bed this time. Hopefully not as jungle-like as it was during the summer, but we'll see what happens. The other big thing over in this corner is now we have the concrete pad. So this, I've mentioned before, so we're going to put a greenhouse here. We needed a concrete pad, which has now been installed. So that's the plan for this area. I'm just waiting on the supplier to get it in and then ship it over to me so that we can get this set up, get a lot of the warmer preferring kind of plants in there, which we mentioned just before as the avocado and the curries. Plus also when it comes to spring, I'll be able to put in some of the seedlings. One other thing which I'm also just investigating the option of is over in this corner is the water tank. Now what I want to do is put a chicken coop in here. So we'll have to remove some of this hedging at the back and some of the sleepers that are on the ground, but that's fine, that's easy. Remove this grass. I hate these things. I don't know why people like these things, but I hate them. And then somehow remove the water tank. So I have a couple of, I guess, problems with this project. Is one, how do I deal with the water tank? Because firstly, we have to disconnect it and go from there. But then also, yeah, getting rid of it, I don't know. I assume someone would come and take it, but don't know how that works. And then I'd need to get a coop in. So there's definitely enough room, and I was thinking to have the actual coop where the tank is and maybe a bit of a run here, but I'd probably need some kind of custom design. So I've got to look into that. If anyone has any ideas, please let me know, and we'll figure that out in due course. Definitely won't be in the next few updates, but hopefully sometime soon I'll have some kind of plan for this particular area to do with chickens. One of the most fascinating things in the garden, which was super new to me when I first planted this, was how this is the pineapple sage. These beautiful flowers that it has, these just extremely vibrant red flowers that it produces as it goes into winter. As you can see, this is the last vestige of pollination points for the bees that are around. So yeah, it's on its last legs. As these flowers all die and drop off, I'll chop this back because it just disappears. All the leaves disappear. It's not a winter enjoying plant, but it is something which will come back in the summer. And I've also got that's a standard sage there, because you can use this sage for many things, but you can't use it for, like, it's not interchangeable. The flavor is such a difference to normal sage, having that very sweet pineapple-y, almost sickly sweet pineapple flavor. So you can't use it for that. The other thing is the bay is growing quite tall now. It's almost actually a tree and not a shrub. This is going into flower as well. As you can see, all these buds everywhere. Not the most not as interesting as the flowers next door, but it is still going to flower a little bit, which will provide a little bit of pollination and enjoyment for those bees. But let's take a look at the main area. As you can see, we've had not only the changes of removing a lot of those summer plants that were in here, but also we've put some netting up. So the biggest problem I had in this garden was that the starlings, which are absolutely everywhere, get into the beds, dig everything up, and it's just quite frustrating to deal with, especially when they're digging through all the straw mulch that I have, which is now quite essential to help keep a little bit of warmth in the soil. So that's why I've gone to a bit of effort. It's not the most sort of extravagant setup or anything like that, but it does the job. So that's why we've got some netting in here. And as we turn to the ground bed, used to be potatoes in here. We got a good haul. It was at least like 5 kilos of potatoes, I think it was. I should have measured it. But now as we move into winter, we've got a few things here. We've got carrots in this area. I've only just sown them just recently, so I have to keep an eye on this area, pull out, thin it out once all those seedlings sprout, and hopefully have some good carrots later on. In the middle, and again, this is where I just plant stuff and I have no idea what I've planted. We've got a lot of brassicas through all the garden. I believe these are versions of a mini white cauliflower. So we've got some mini white cauliflowers. There's some spinach at the end, along with a couple of, well, one of them's not doing too well, but a couple of other brassicas. I'm just going to say brassica very generally because I'm not 100% sure. There are also things like fennel. That's a little fennel in there. And yeah, so that's that ground bed, less protected, but also like it's less protected from the birds and other sorts of things, but you know, it's valuable space you want to use. So we've got things all over the place here, and basically from this point we're looking at right now all the way through the end of this bed, even between the citrus here at the end, are garlic. I've just planted these 2 or 3 days ago, so we'll have garlic in this corner as opposed to the previous side over on the opposite end where we were looking at before. So we'll see how they go in this particular bed, as it'll provide a little bit more sun, because this is the south side of the house. So as you can see, beautiful timing, the sun comes out, and yeah, this will get a little bit more warmth, which I think after the vernalization through winter, it'll actually help the garlic to grow as we head in towards its harvesting period in November. But yeah, orange doing nicely, still quite small, both the actual plant and the fruit itself, but I think when I sort of trimmed it up, fertilized it a bit, it's really it's grown a little bit more leafy, a little bit more stocky. You can see these oranges are actually not too bad. For reference, they're probably just a touch smaller than a tennis ball, so they're growing all right. It's always good to have a little bit of fresh oranges rather than none, so that's quite handy. The big lemon over here, this one's grown quite a lot since I cleared it all up, freed up some of the foliage and that kind of stuff, and it's now doing really nicely. So we've got a lot of lemons which are going to come up through the winter as a nice little side benefit to the potted lemon, which is over in the little courtyard area. But yeah, some garlic in here as well. You'll notice I've got these little tape watering lines just set up. I am considering whether we do full watering setup, but I'm not exactly sure just yet. Oh, hello. There's a little lettuce there just growing out of the tan bark, probably a stray seed which got out as in the summer. Meanwhile, Banana Grove. This has grown, obviously the bigger one at the back, that's our older one, and then the one on the right is the slightly younger one, and then the very little brother down here, the red Dhaka dwarf banana. Did quite well, got a lot of shoots out. There's also those little the little babies that are in the corner there underneath the bigger one. So you can 100% expect this to be gone by the time the next video comes out. The cold weather has just sort of started to come in. You can sort of see how the leaves are starting to brown off. You can see some of them starting to die off, all this kind of stuff here, and this is just natural as they move into the colder weather. So as we get to that colder point, I'll chop the leaves off, we'll pop them on the ground as a little bit of fertilizer and mulch for the ground, and it also helps to keep a little bit more warmth in this area for the bananas. The actual what do you call it, I've forgotten the word for it. I'll post in the comments. The bit in the ground that stays alive and will come back through this summer. So yeah, this has done really well, and I've just for the sake of it, I threw some peas in the corners up against the fence there, so we'll hopefully have a few more peas that'll pop up. But yeah, really enjoying the Banana Grove here in the corner. I'll just sort of breeze through this middle bit. So we've got our, again, just more random brassicas that I have no idea about. In this corner, I've thrown some beetroot seeds behind the these little leafy greens. So I threw in a whole bunch of leafy greens, which I'm not going to try and pull it open, but you get the general idea. There's a whole bunch of silver beet, some pak choi, just some other things that grew really quickly because we actually gained all this space at the end of summer, and I had nothing in there, and I was just like, let's just grow something. So we've got a whole bunch of silver beet. We've been eating a lot of this recently, and I'll clear this up soon, but there is something in there. Oh, it's hard to see. I've got all these clips everywhere, and they're quite hard to pull them apart. There you go. That is a sweet potato. I've never actually grown sweet potato before, so we'll see how that goes. Throughout the rest of these beds, we've got things like kale, more brassicas down the end there, and then again over in this side, just random sorts of brassicas. There are some shallot seeds just sort of randomly thrown in along the sides here, and then at the end some actual, can't see them just yet because they're very, very small, but there's bunching onions and leeks in here. So that's the state of the main bed area at the moment. So a little bit more protection against those damn starlings, and hopefully see some good growth out of this for the next video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.